Hi, moms and dads, and children too. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the sacrament of reconciliation, since this is the first sacrament that you will receive this year. It's an exciting year for you. A lot of work though, but let's take each day with joy and preparation, and just know that God loves you and has great gifts for you. So we're going to start right now with a prayer together. So as a family, moms and dads, say this prayer together. Lord, help me always to seek you above all and to see your face in the faces of children everywhere. Help me to reflect your love to them in all that I do and say. Make me an instrument of your peace, Lord, a reconciling person who chooses peace for myself and encourage peace among others. When I fall short of being the person you call me to be, give me the faith and the humility to turn to you so that my child might also see the embrace of your love. Give me a merciful heart that is patient and forgiving so that my child, your child, may believe in and accept the gift of your unconditional love and enjoy the new life that you offer us in Jesus Christ through the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen. One of the best things about this particular prayer is the talk of how your love and the way you treat each other, moms and dads, brothers and sisters, your children, teaches them about the unconditional love that God has for them. And it's the best lesson that you can give them, especially when we start talking about forgiveness. And that's what the sacrament of reconciliation is all about, is forgiveness. So we'll move on to what is reconciliation. It's one of the sacraments of healing. It's one that we can receive many times. It's not one that's received only once. And it's something that we do in order to receive those graces from God. Is your child ready to receive this? Readiness is basically dependent on age, and the bishops have decided that, and years ago decided that 7 years of age was the age of understanding. And so your children are learning how to behave and how to follow rules and understand when they break those rules that they need contrition and need to ask for forgiveness. So a 7-year-old can only understand God's mercy and forgiveness as a 7-year-old, but their ability has been started with you when they were 1 year old, 2 years old, when you would teach them what was right or wrong. Their ability to comprehend concepts as conscience, temptation, intention, and sin, both mortal and venial, is limited by the age and moral development. And so we're teaching them every day what is right. It's our way as a parent to help our kids make good, discerning choices. The expectation for readiness is that your child participates in Sunday Mass on a regular basis. Now, I know with the virus right now, we're not all attending Mass regularly, but the expectation is that they are watching Mass on the TV, and so that they are learning to do the responses, participate, listen carefully, that they can talk to you after the Mass is over about what they heard in the readings. And so as a parent, it is basically your responsibility to be helping them understand what's happening on Mass. But certainly we invite you to return to Mass. The Masses are happening here at St. Jude. They're social distanced in the pews. They have overflow spaces, so if you haven't reached that comfort level yet, do know that our parish here at St. Jude is doing the best they can to help you feel comfortable in returning to a Sunday Mass. Your child's participating in ongoing catechesis. That means that the lessons you're doing right now virtually are that you're doing them every week. And if you're having difficulty with anything, certainly you can give us a call and we'll try to help walk you through some things. That you're praying with your child, because prayer is an important part of the child's life. You're helping your child to recognize what's right and wrong. Your child also has the ability to show sincere sorrow for whatever they've done. It's not a flippant, I'm sorry. It's more of stop and think and ask for forgiveness and a promise that you won't do that particular action again. They know the differences between mistakes and accidents, and they know what it means to choose freely a particular behavior. They also are beginning to understand what the difference is between a mortal and a venial sin. But in the end, they understand that God is loving and merciful and always forgives. And all we have to do is ask, and that forgiveness is given. So looking at reconciliation, we have to know what sin is. So there's two types of sin, venial and mortal. Venial are those everyday sins that we do that takes us away from the love of God, but not permanently. It's those little infractions that we do. Maybe we yell at our brother, or we yell at our sister, or we tell our parent no, or we don't do what your child doesn't do what you've asked them to do. So it's those little things that start to enter into our ability to be the kind person that God has called us to be. And so it's freely choosing, because God gave us his free will. It's freely choosing to say or do something that we know is against God's law. And so what are God's laws? Those are those 10 commandments. And you can get those out and look at them and go over them with your child. Some of them are a little more for adults, but certainly there are a number of things that we can help our children understand and know. But one of the number one things is that we are to never use God's name in vain, that we are to honor our mothers and fathers. And so we're not supposed to lie, cheat, steal, things like that. So things like that children really can understand, that they know are wrong, and that they should never choose them. Any kind of sin, venial and especially mortal, harms our relationship with God. And so we need to help our children realize that the gifts that God has given us are important, and that we don't want to jeopardize that appreciation of what gifts God has given us. Helps us understand how, when we talk about mortal sin, mortal is a grievous sin. It basically shuts the door on God's love. We've basically walked away from God, and we do have to come back to confession to ask for forgiveness for that mortal sin of slamming that door. God, I don't want you in my life. And that's certainly nothing that we would want to do, hopefully, but for our children to understand. So it has to be a grave matter. We have to know that it's a sin. And so our children, in your conversations with them as they're growing up, you bring up things that are happening in the world or happening in your own life, and talk about how are these good things that we're doing, or are they not good things? Are these things that are loving and keep us in good relationship with God, or are these things that take us away from our relationship from God? And so it's that teaching moment that happens daily in family life, those conversations that go on. So it has to be a grave matter. It has to be a sin, and you have to stop, think, and decide to commit the sin. And this is what we always refer to as adequate reflection. So it's like thinking about doing it. Let's look at an example. Let's say we know we're supposed to keep holy the Sabbath. We know that we're supposed to go to Mass. We're supposed to do that weekly. And so let's say we get up one Sunday morning and we decide, we don't really want to go today. Now, is that the right thing? No, because we're supposed to go to Mass. That's what God has asked us. It's one of the first things he's asked us, is to keep holy the Sabbath. And so when we choose to not go because we want to go have fun doing something else, then that does make it a sin. Now, let's say you wake up and you are not feeling well. You're running a temperature, you're sick, and say, oh gosh, I really should go to Mass, but I don't feel well enough to go. So you don't go. Would that be a sin? No, it's not, because there was a reason why you couldn't go. You were ill. Let's say you're traveling. This has happened to us. You're traveling somewhere and you look up on the internet or whatever, and they say what time the Mass is. And so you show up at the church, and guess what? They hadn't changed what was on the internet, and they've changed for summer hours, and so they don't have the Mass at that time. You've missed it. And there's not another one because it's Sunday evening or whatever. And so was that a sin? No, your intention was to go to Mass, and so it wasn't a sin. So those are the ways you think about what, and your choosing of what is sin or not. So this semester, your children will be focusing on lessons that lead them to understand a little bit more about reconciliation. And so they are using a series called Alive in Christ. It's by our Sunday Visitor. They're using this in all grades from 1st through 6th grade, but this particular series, the 2nd grade, is sacramental in approach. Your teachers will be sending out emails weekly with assignments and a link that gives the assignment for the family. And there's a couple things you're required to do so that we can keep track of the children completing the work. And so the child's gonna complete an e-assessment, 10 questions that they just submit on the computer. That information will come back to our office. And then the teacher will ask them to respond to one question. And so you'll just email that answer back to the teacher, and that way the teacher has some correspondence with you. And then through the year, they might send you a little video, maybe introduce themselves to you, or and there is an opportunity on those lesson links for the child to do a video. So if they would like to respond to the teacher using that video, that is fine, because the teacher can look at that. So those are the simple things that you're going to be doing with your kids in Alive in Christ. There's not too many handouts, but we'll be sending emails from our office with things that are pertinent to the sacrament for you. There is a group of kids that they're in what we call our Out of Sequence Sacraments class. They're using a different series. They're using Go Seek Find from St. Mary's Press. It has a Bible that's included with that particular class. And Liz Moore is our teacher for that class, and she sends out particular lessons every week. And the Bible will be a major component of the lessons for the kids. They'll be reading directly from the Bible, so don't lose it. And there are some flyers that she'll be sending home periodically, but not every week. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that purple folder that you brought home from when you picked up your child's book. And so when you open it, you'll see there's some labels on the inside covers. The right side of the book is the parent side, and the left side has things for the child to do with you. Okay, the purpose of the purple folder is not for the child just to do this on their own. The purpose is to have the entire family involved. It's more of an approach to family catechesis. It should not take long to complete the lessons. Certainly recommend starting now so that you are finished with all of the papers by December 6th. So on the parent side, there's a letter from the office. There's a flyer on what is reconciliation. There's 2 pages on examination of your conscience, one for children and one for parents, because one of the best ways to model the use of this sacrament is for parents to practice receiving reconciliation themselves. And if you haven't been in a while, that's okay. They do offer it Tuesdays and Thursday late afternoons, and then before the Mass on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then they offer it on Saturday mornings. And that all takes place in the parish hall. There is a yellow sheet in the folder that has the prayers the children do need to know: the Act of Contrition, the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Glory Be. It is also in Spanish on the back for anyone that would need that. These are important prayers. I will tell you, I don't want the kids to be nervous that I don't know it by heart really well when they come to confession. They can bring the prayers with them. They don't have to, because I know that when you're nervous, you forget things. And so even if you practice this prayer for your entire life, if you get nervous, it wipes away. So even parents, if you come to confession, you may bring the prayers with you. You don't have to worry that you're not going to have a good confession because you forgot your prayer. You've got it with you. But it's important to work on that brain and help the kids learn how to memorize those prayers. They bring them comfort later in life for that. The materials on the purple folder are due December 6th. Okay, so on the child side, there are a number of lessons. There were a lesson per week, and it kind of explains it and everything. There's a family activity, there's a prayer time, there's a family share time, there's a virtue you might talk about, and a Bible story. It looks like this. It says week 1. Sometimes there'll be something else that goes with week 1. It'll be marked on the particular thing. Week 1 is about baptism. Kids are going to talk about their baptism, which is an exciting time for them. A lot of kids like to see the pictures of when they were baptized, who was there, what they wore. You get to talk about this wonderful sacrament with your child, because that's the first time that they received basically a forgiveness also, because they were forgiven original sin at their baptism. Each little square activity has a little square box there, and when you finish it, please mark it off that you completed that. That tells us that you did it. And then there's not much to write down, okay? There's not much room on here, so it's not supposed to be an hour-long discussion on each of these things. It could be a mealtime discussion, or just choose purple folder times at the end of dinner, and you just work on that. It might be that the family activity is something done at a separate time, but it's just helping your kids know about you as a mom and dad. Talk about your own baptism with them and what you remember, and share those things, what you felt like or what you remember being told by your parents. Anyway, so week 2, same things about the Holy Spirit. You just go through each of the activities and talk about, it'll refer to sometimes a family activity book, and that is on the parent side. It's called The Gift of Reconciliation. You do not have to write in this book. You're going to give it back to us. But sometimes I'll refer to this because a lot of the ideas came from this book, which was published by Sylva Burdett, so it's been a long time. Been around here a long time. Anyway, so if it refers to that book, that's what you go to. Like week number 2, it'll say the activity on page 13, and it just says choose one of those activities to do. So you don't have to do the whole thing, just a little bit. But you're going to turn that particular activity in your folder. So whatever we've asked you to do in the purple folder, those things are going to come back to us. What I do recommend, sometimes some families are very crafty. They love to make things and make big things. And so if it's something that's really large, take a picture of your child with it, or your family with whatever you've created, and include the picture. And you can keep that large item at home. There's one of the lessons I'll ask you to do a little a blessing book. The one asks you to make a cross. Some kids are very creative. They've gone out in nature and created things with things they found in nature, but it's making a cross from whatever materials they find. A couple of the lessons will ask you to make cards for people, because one of the purposes of this particular folder is to teach something about the corporal works of mercy and the spiritual works of mercy, and how we do things for others. And so helping that develop that little important behavior in all of us. And so those are things that we'll do as family. The virtues are just things that you normally would talk about. What are important to you? And the virtues, one of them talks about friendliness, one's about love, kindness, any of those things. So you're bringing that information up for your children so that they learn how important they are in your own family. So blessing book, you just want to talk about what things. One of the beautiful things for children and for adults is to be able to reflect on what happens in their day, and that we give praise and thanksgiving to God for those things that happen in our day. And so helping them write down and reflect on those. So that might be that 2-minute time before bed. You're saying the prayers with your child before sleep and say, what was good about today? What did God bless you with? Children have this propensity for goodness, and they are excited about sharing those things. And so you want to keep bringing that up, so as they get older, they're still remembering those things and doing them. There's time to practice what are mistakes and what are sins. And so there's a sheet here, lesson 4, that's listed a whole lot of things, mistakes and sins all together. You're going to cut these apart, put them on a card, separate card, because you're going to play card games throughout your several weeks of working on this purple folder, so that you can do this at all times. So it starts helping the children really discern and then they can make up their own. You can come up with other ideas in your own family, because you've had situations in your own family that you know your child's thinking, that was no big deal, but you realize that it was, and it was a sin, and so you're going to help them learn. So it's just a cute little card game to do with your children. There's also an opportunity to always think about like when you're praying and you're praying to God, and just imagining that He is there with you. And so helping your kids imagine that. So there's a little picture here, and they get to draw a picture being by Jesus. And what would Jesus be saying to you? And so just helping your child have that image in their mind about that loving God. There's also on the parent side an explanation of the Beatitudes. And so when we get to lesson 5, there is a reflection on what the Beatitudes are. And so, so for an adult, there's a little deeper explanation, so you might understand them if you haven't studied them before. So anyway, you're going to go through 8 weeks of activities with your children. So they're due December 6th. There's certainly many more weeks than 8 from now until December 6th. But don't wait till Thanksgiving, because then it will be grueling to get all these things finished. So it's just better to start 1 week at a time right now, so that if there's a little hitch in the family calendar, you still have time to work on this folder. And so December 6th, it's due. Okay, so we're going to have a retreat. It's going to be in January. I've said it's the week of January 6th. And the reason I'm saying the week, it's not going to happen on just one day. You're going to have a choice of several days to choose from, that you'll come with your child to the parish hall, and we're going to have center set up. And so you will walk the retreat with your child. We can't do it all together. It'll be... we wouldn't be able to do social distancing. So we're going to do social distancing with just the parents being the facilitator. And so we're working on that. We haven't come up with the perfect plan yet, but anyway, so just know that that week you'll have some choices of dates and times to come for a retreat with your child. Once again, the celebration where they receive the sacrament is going to be the week of January 25th. It'll be several days to choose from. Once again, we won't do where we all come to the church and have several priests, and we're not able to social distance. So that has not been ironed out yet. So hopefully we'll know a little bit more about that. First Eucharist, basically the date of May 2nd or May 1st is chosen. But more than likely, we will do the first Eucharist like we did this year, and so it will take place at 4 different times. And so the specific dates have not been set. So I'll wait for that. Hopefully by mid-October we can have that decided for you. And then we do need a copy of your child's baptismal certificate. If they were baptized here at St. Jude, just please let us know that, so that we can go look up the information in the record book. If you do not have a copy of their baptismal form, you need to contact the church where they were baptized and get a copy, so we can have a copy here. So hopefully all of you are good to go. Certainly call our office, email me at any time, Julie Buchanan, and let me know if you need anything whatsoever. We want to work together. We are partnering together. We're in this journey supporting each other, and we just give you praise and blessings, and just a prayer of good luck, and that this year is positive and everyone stays healthy and happy. So God bless you. Thank you.